We're live. This is Tabletop Weekly. We're the partners of Solarian Games.
I'm Jason.
I'm Peter. And we have a late show tonight. Sorry, you all, for anyone who showed up early, and because there was a few people asking about us, which is really nice.
Thank you.
But we wanted to wait until after. There's a little event going on.
The Superb Owl.
Yes.
So, and we will not spoil it in case somebody is taping it and wants to find out tomorrow. Or no, we will spoil it, but if you're taping it and want to find out tomorrow, cover your ears for the next 30 seconds.
Right.
Because I'm a Chiefs fan, and I'm glad my Chiefs fandom is not that deep-rooted. Let's put it that way. That was just pathetic. That was just pathetic.
All right. Well,
Yeah. I'll just say earlier this week, I went back and watched Super Bowl 10 just to remind myself what a great Super Bowl looked like. And I'm glad I did that because I can just remember that instead.
Right. There you go. All right. Well, this week's stories, Diana Jones Emerging Designer Program open for submissions. Project Sigil is no longer your D&D companion. That doesn't mean it's going away. You'll find out. Are people being priced out of gaming? New product, H20 Apocalypse.
H2O Apocalypse.
Was that H2? I'm sorry. God
think
damn it.
Think about the pun. Think about the pun.
Yeah, I know. H2O. I just, whatever. And we're going to finish it up with something we don't normally do too much of, so we'll keep it to a minimum, but Broken Road, Broken Promises.
All right. So, hey, first story this week. The Diana Jones Emerging Designer Program is open for submissions for 2025. This will be their fourth year, if I'm doing the math right. The first one was 2021. I'm always bad about remembering whether to say inclusive or not. Is it 5 years, 4 years, whatever?
Right.
The first year was 2021. So the Diana Jones Award itself is given for excellence in gaming. It's a whole separate thing that's all about games awards themselves. Excuse me. And sometimes they do things other than just games. I think last year they gave the Diana Jones Award to the Paizo Union, if I remember right, for standing up for creators in gaming. Anyway, this is a little bit separate. So it is run by the Diana Jones Award people, but it's called the Diana Jones Emerging Designer Program. So it's not really an award that's given. What they do is they look for rising, this is their words, rising and impactful talent in the tabletop industry. They say the analog tabletop hobby games industry. So that basically means it's not just role-playing games, it's board games as well. And it's kind of cool. Each winner, and there is more than one, each winner receives a expenses paid trip to Gen Con, which includes their badge. Thanks, that's good. They actually get a hotel room, which is really good considering what a Gen Con hotel room costs. Travel reimbursement, food stipend, and Gen Con TV coverage, plus a package of useful game design tools and other, in their words, fabulous prizes that change from year to year. So that's actually really good, considering what it costs to go to Gen Con, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The last time I went, it's been years because it cost me, it was thousands of dollars. It was literally multiple thousands of dollars to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you can save money by doubling up hotel rooms and staying far away and all that other kind of stuff. But at that point, just go to lots of smaller conventions, right?
Yeah.
But this is a really good opportunity for somebody who is an up and coming designer. So it does. I should point out their stated goal is to amplify the voices of up and coming designers with a focus on creators from marginalized communities. Doesn't mean you have to be. Every single winner so far has been. So I would say that, that's probably where your odds lie if you're looking to be considered for this. But that group of communities, needs more representation. So that's good. Just to kind of focus on who last year's winners were, to give you an idea of the sort of people they put into here. Quinn Brander was one of them, and he did a couple of pretty popular board games, Rebuilding Seattle and Rebuilding Chicago, which is, I haven't played either one of them, but Rebuilding Seattle is very cool. It's right after the Great Fire, and you basically have to be a city planner and figure out how to put the city back together. And rebuilding Chicago, same idea. Mrs. O'Leary's cow, build the city again. And a lot of other things. Those are just the two that kind of stood out the most. So there you have a board game designer. And then Taylor Navarro, who was a producer for Tales from Sina Una, which is a 5e setting that I haven't seen yet, and who's done a lot of writing for other companies. There's a big, long list, but I thought one of the interesting things that they did have one of their own things they put out called Not Yet, a romantic TTRPG duet. So, very much over in the kind of, let's talk about smooching while we play games, I guess. Two more people. Clarence Simpson, who is the co-designer of a board game called The Wolves, which is actually about being a wolf, which is kind of cool. And Basil Wright, depending where you're from, who I've got a list of games they've made here, including Pelagos, Mosea, Your Naked Run, and You Cannot Pet the Cat. So not necessarily the just traditional TTRPG designers, but board game designers doing new kinds of things. Sounds pretty cool. And it's cool that the Diana Jones Award, which I believe is run by Gen Con, or if it's not, it's closely tied to Gen Con. It's a big platform. It's a big stage to be on. So if you're an emerging designer and you think they would be interested in you, go look for the Diana Jones Emerging Designer Program. It's got about a month of time that it's open for submissions. So there you go.
Who is? Do you know who Diana Jones is? Because I don't recognize that name.
No, that's right. You don't, because the story behind it is that it was actually an Indiana Jones board game, or not board game, the TTRPG, the Indiana Jones box got, I don't remember the exact story, but something along the lines of they had this Indiana Jones game and it got burnt, and all that was left was the word Diana Jones instead of.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. That explains why the trophy looks the way it does.
Yes. Yeah. Well, actually, the trophy, there's a whole nother story about the trophy also getting destroyed, but I didn't prepare well enough to answer those questions.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, that's cool.
It's pretty cool though.
All right, well, let's go to our next story. Here, hold on, I got slides.
And we got a lot of folks in the chat here. Oh, okay, it's just people saying that they were wondering where we were because of the Super Bowl. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's the Diana Jones Award for Excellence in Gaming. If somebody in the chat knows the story better, I don't want to slow the show down by going and looking it up, but feel free to toss some info in the chat and we can keep going.
Yeah. All right. So Project Sigil is no longer your D&D companion. Project Sigil is just for background, in case anyone doesn't know, is a virtual tabletop system for Dungeons and Dragons. Lets you create 3D worlds, customize characters, host games online, and it's powered by the Unreal Engine 5, which is a pretty robust engine.
We've looked a little bit on this show. We've looked a little bit at it. It's a very cool looking video game looking type of thing.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a 3D sandbox. You can create terrain populated with miniatures, character customization, world building, integration with D&D Beyond, blah, 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 all that stuff. It does everything and everything else. But it was GeekWire. I think it was GeekWire because it was their article. They weren't 100% sure or 100% clear on who tested it, but I think it was them that tested Sigil at a recent PAX. And what they found out is that this isn't going to be like, it's not going to be quite a virtual tabletop. It's more, what they found was the more that they tried to automate it, the less people seemed to like it. So
hallelujah.
So they're, but yeah, of course, shocker, right? So they're backing off some, and it's going to be more of your less of your D&D companion to more of a easy to use 3D map builder with tools.
Yeah, I know. I really mean it. Hallelujah, because when we saw this before, they were saying it's a sandbox thing, and it wasn't really clear what they meant by it. It seemed like it was basically a way to have virtual terrain and miniatures, right? Which sounds cool. But then the more we started hearing, the more they started saying, we're going to let it automate this and automate that. And I was worried that it was getting to the point where they were essentially building a video game that just had D&D elements to it.
Right.
And my big worry was that people were going to love that, and that we were seeing some sort of future for D&D where it was all about clicking and following menus and everything else. So the fact that people actually didn't want that they just wanted to play D&D with some cool virtual minis, I feel great about that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think a lot of us are in the same boat with that kind of thing. But
well, it's hard to say. I mean, I might just be a curmudgeon, so
we'll see.
But I mean, it is gorgeous, and I certainly can't afford thousands and thousands of dollars of Dwarven Forge stuff and all these minis and the time to paint them. But I like the immersion that you get from that kind of stuff. So I would like to use this now that we know that it's basically just going to be virtual terrain. That's awesome. I would love to sit around and build 3D virtual worlds and then just use them in the game.
God, I wonder what the learning curve is on that.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, if we look at this screen, people who are listening to the podcast rather than watching it are going to need a little description. To me, this looks like a CAD program.
It does.
It's just our computer-aided design program. This is stuff you understand.
Yeah. I mean, the learning curve for me would probably be less than most people.
But I look at it and I see, all right, so my day job, when I put my Clark Kent glasses on, which I'm wearing right now too, is I'm a user experience designer. I design interfaces, and my job is to make them easier for people to use. When I see something like this, it gives me the chills. It's terrible, right? One of the first rules of interface design is label your icons, label your buttons. Don't just put a bunch of random things that nobody knows what they are and hope they're going to figure it out. This is nothing but unlabeled icons everywhere.
Right.
It looks like a mess to me. But maybe once you get good at it, you'll just fly through it and it'll be great. Maybe it's intended to be sort of a expert level type of system.
Or maybe when you highlight over one of them, you hover your mouse over one of them, it tells you what it is, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
That's usually what bad designers want to do. Yeah. I always deal with young designers that are just starting to work in my department who always say, well, we'll just put it on tooltips or this or that or the other thing. For one thing, you can't use that on mobile because your finger doesn't hover. But the main thing is nobody wants to sit there and play around with the mystery meat all day trying to guess what each thing is. They just want to recognize it and use it. So maybe they'll make a better interface for it. Maybe they won't. And maybe it'll, like I said, it could just be sort of an expert set. Once you get good at it, you're fine. And that's what they do.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that's pretty much all there is for that. We'll learn more about it as time goes on.
Yeah. All right. So, next story. Did we lose
this one?
Oh, hey! I thought we were going. Where are we going with this?
Priced out of gaming. Oh, I know why. I couldn't find a. I didn't have an image for it. I see you have it in the file here.
We're in a different. We're out of order. We're out of order. Yeah, You're out of order. This whole podcast is out of order.
All right.
Which
so go ahead with this
next? Do we want
the priced out of gaming?
Okay. All right. See, I'm all shook up because of Kendrick Lamar. That's why.
And
there's some controversy. Yeah, there's some controversy. Go ask somebody what they thought of the halftime show if you really want to get in a fight. Okay. So there was an article on N-World this week that I thought was really interesting. I wanted to talk about it. The title of it was, "Are People Being Priced Out of Gaming?" So the author, whose name I don't have in front of me right now, asked, can an overemphasis on attractive art and components and hardcovers price gamers out of the market? And a good example of this was Spelljammer, which came out recently. So Spelljammer is gorgeous to look at. right? It's in a slipcase. You get 3 books. There's a GM screen. There's all this great looking cover art, everything else. But each book is only 64 pages. I mean, in game book terms, that's barely a book. Like, you would normally put those together into one, so you could get your 180, 192 pages. And they really skimped on it. And part of the question was, why did they go so small? I mean, maybe they spent all their money on the artwork and the paper and the hardcover and the slipcase, and then they said, okay, well, here's this $70 thing. Couldn't they have done something a lot simpler and maybe sold it for half the price?
Right.
So I am seeing this. There's a lot of games that, I think this is sort of the Kickstarter effect in a way, right? You have a game that you want people to buy, so you need to sell them on the idea before it's there. You need to show them images that really get them excited. And the Kickstarters that we usually see do big numbers are ones that are filled with goodies and minis and special editions and amazing artwork and over-the-top stuff. And it gets to the point that for each game, if you get the game for $60, you're getting it cheap.
Mm-hmm.
There's $100, $150 games that are going out there. And it seems like there's I don't have data to prove this, but this is what the article suggested. There's a small number of people who buy a large number of games, and they're the ones that sort of the high rollers that are buying all this stuff, whether it's a board game or a TTRPG. They are almost collecting them more to be just admired or like to read them and go, ooh, that's beautiful, more than to actually play them.
Right.
And so the question is, are we getting to the point that the casual gamer, somebody who just wants to get into role playing or just wants to be a player in somebody else's game, they don't really have the barrier to entry is getting too high? That's the question. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I do see a lot of stuff. Seeing this for how much was the retail for the whole thing? Like 760 some, would you say?
Oh, I don't know. I think the Spelljammer was around $80.
Okay, so I wouldn't buy that. Like unless I was like a giant Spelljammer fan, if I was a big Spelljammer fan and I had played it before and I saw this and I saw that price tag, I wouldn't pay for that. I wouldn't buy that as a new game. It's something to try out. It's too expensive to try out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nice, but honestly, I almost never buy like the really nice collector's SETI type things like this because, if I'm going to play a game, I'm going to carry the books with me, right? So,
yeah, and that's the thing is that if I buy the really nice one, I don't want to mess it up.
Right. I'm afraid to you open it and you don't want to open it up all the way because you don't want to crack the spine or you don't want to get your Cheeto fingers on it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'll confess that I did do the thing when the new D&D books came out. I went down to my friendly local game store and I bought 2 copies of each one. I bought the fancy special edition cover that you could only get in the store. And then I bought the regular one so I could play it and not worry about messing it up.
Right.
So I'm contributing to the problem here.
Right. But I think just in general, people in general, it was already kind of tough sometimes to sell some of these books because you'd sell it to one person and then that one person would run it for their group. They'd be the only one to buy it. Right.
Yeah.
But if it was cheaper, then, some of the other players might buy it as well. You might actually sell more copies. So I don't know.
It's even got me thinking about the way that all of the premium games or whatever are being presented. If you collect a lot of these games, you can get some really beautiful stuff on your shelf. You can have a shelf that's filled with very work of art type of books, but at some point they almost start just turning into coffee table books.
Yeah.
They're beautiful to look at, but they don't really. I get it. It would be. It's much more exciting for me to be able to go to a convention or to a indie game store and pick up all the zine games and to pick up all the stuff that people put out themselves, and that you can buy them for, you know, $20 a pop. And quite often that's where the best ideas are, is in those indie games.
Right.
So
A lot of times. Yeah.
yeah. The only thing I have to say about it other than that is that I do really appreciate the quality of the design on these. The thing that I would like to see more of is I would like to see people who are not graphic designers. I would like to see those people, when they self-produce things, not try to emulate the overproduced fancy things. Because if you're not a musician, I'm not a musician. So if I sit down and pick up the most expensive guitar and the best synthesizer and the best drum kit, I'm just going to look like an idiot. I'm not going to be able to make good sounds on it. But if I just maybe grab a gong or, you know, something like that, I can make a couple simple sounds. I would play a simple instrument. It's kind of like that with design. I would like to see more of the down and dirty punk rock. I don't know what I'm doing, so I just grabbed a Xerox machine and clipped some stuff together. I'd like to see more of that and less of, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but here's 800 fonts. You know? So that's just kind of my appeal to people who are not designers. Don't worry about it. Lean into not being a designer and just make it indie and rough and something that people will just be glad that they have the good writing for.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I think our next story kind of touches on that somewhat.
Awesome.
This is our, oh shit, went too far. There we go. Sorry. H2O Apocalypse, the surf punk piracy in a drowned world. So this is by buddies of ours, make the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland products, and talk about, you know, very punk rock, very indie kind of feel, like you're saying, you know, not to say that they're not good designers.
Well, although in this case, they actually are good designers.
They are, but they do a lot of that, you know, they're very experimental. They're very, you know, a little out there with their designs, which is awesome. They take chances.
Yeah.
But you know, this is an interesting, is it an adventure? What is this? This is a plug. What the hell is
this? Well, it says it's a zine.
It's a zine, but
we love that it's a zine. It's basically, I think this is a setting/adventure that you can play either with the DCC rules or with the Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland rules, which I would say you should play with those.
Right. Yeah. So it's based in a future where the ice caps melted and drowned the earth. The rich saw it coming and took advantage of the situation, leaving everyone else to fend for themselves.
Can you imagine?
Naturally, what's that?
Can you imagine?
So naturally, you travel around looking for remnants of the old world, raiding elite supply ships and battling, this is the best part, battling crazed mutants doing sick tricks off of dinosaurs.
That's great.
This is so them. So you get a new class. There's Hydropunk for DCC and Neon Lords. There's a new Mighty Deed, 2 of them, hydroboarding and shredding. It's awesome.
Okay, that's weird. Just shredding. You can already do shredding in Neon Lords. Maybe it's a different kind of shredding.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I bet it's shredding. I don't know surf talk. This is probably shredding waves instead of shredding your guitar.
Could be. Yeah. New mechanics. There's a spirit dice. It's an alternative to luck, offering a new fleeting reward system used for any dice roll, as well as healing, alternate death, and dying rules. So that's cool.
Nice.
Rules for getting wasted.
Yeah. There we go. Nice.
It's the best.
Oh man.
My birthday was yesterday, so I did a little bit of that. I had a bit of a hangover today. I didn't play by the rules. And then there's tables for punk band names, which is awesome. Our punk names and band names, sorry. Ship names, junk weapon, crystal guns, action movie hunks, and many, many more. Awesome. And then, of course, it comes with an adventure. It's a deep dive down into the submerged laboratory and discover the Saturday midnight movie macabre of murder mystery slasher theater 4000. Is it macabre? Macabre?
Macabre.
Macabre.
I don't know. But I love it. The cover's got a punk with his Liberty spikes screaming into the void, very blue because it's a water world kind of situation, H2 Apocalypse. And I can't wait to play this one. It looks awesome. Brian Shutter, who creates Neon Lords, has a game every Wednesday night. You can join it by going onto the Discord for them. I don't know, go search for it. And I think I'm going to see if I can get in on one of those H2 Apocalypse games if he runs it soon.
Yeah. All right.
And I just want to do a quick backup to our last story. So first of all, hi to Brian Kowalczyk, who's in the chat, and who says, I have 10, this we were talking about before, just buying beautiful books. I have 10 tabletop role-playing games, including yours, that I've never played. That's our top secret. And Scott Congable to the rescue. He comes in and says, play some Top Secret. You'll love it. So hopefully in the chat, we're going to see some people getting a game going together soon. So go Brian, go Scott, play together.
Right. Hey, and don't forget, we have our Discord channel. We have rooms set up that anyone can use anytime they want.
Yes. I don't even know how to get to that, how to describe it on the podcast, but it's there.
Yeah. You find us on Discord. There are rooms in there.
Okay.
They're open to public.
All right.
All right. Now, here comes.
Oh, boy. Okay. Here we go. Last story of the day. Broken road of broken promises. Maybe. I don't know. So we're just going to be reporting this. No opinion on any of it. Stephen Deinhardt is the creator of a game called Giant Lands, which I don't know how many years ago it was that he did this, but it is a sort of I think it's like a Dying Earth type of post-apocalyptic. I'm not really sure. It's definitely got a real Gamma World flavor to it.
Right.
And he hired Jim Ward to help him write it. And how much of it he actually handed over to Jim, I don't know. And how much of Jim's writing made it in and how much Stephen just put his name on it, I do not know. I'm not going to make any claims about it because I've never read the game. I've heard other people say that it was mostly Stephen's game with Jim's name attached, but I've also heard Stephen say quite the opposite. So we'll let people decide for themselves. At any rate, it had big promises. It was going to somehow involve building a theme park, I think they said they were going to do, but that's expensive, so that didn't happen. And apparently there was an adventure called The Broken Road that was originally supposed to be included in maybe their first crowdfunding, and then it wasn't. And then it was put out as being available separately as a adventure. And Stephen took pre-orders for this, which have been going on for quite a long time. Apparently, the original promise was that this would be delivered in 2024. And now I'm not sure pricing wise here because we saw Eric Tenkar talk about this on Tenkar's Tavern earlier. Eric said that it was $100 adventure.
Good Lord.
That's a lot. To Tenkar's point, he said, look, if you're asking me to pay $100 for something, it better be a collectible, like something, from back in the day that's rare and whatever, which I kind of agree with, especially after what we were saying about things being too expensive. But when I went and looked for it, it looked like it was selling for maybe $50 or $40.
Yes, I got it up on the screen, $49.98.
Okay, there we go, $50. So what we're looking at on the screen right now is the pre-order page, which is still up. You can still go to this page and they will charge you $50. And scroll up a little bit. Let's read a little bit about what this says here. So it tells you all about, what the adventure is going to be. And then it says, note that this item is a pre-order. It will not ship until an indeterminate time in the future. These monies will help us produce and ship the product, blah, blah, blah. We are a small craft studio. I just want to be clear. We, in his case, is one person. We don't have a regular release schedule. We will do our best to make our games the best we can. It can be a long process. And originally it was supposed to be January 2024. And then here on the page, it says we will ship in July of 2024. We had planned on shipping in March of 2024. But due to Jim Ward's untimely passing, we've decided to give it another pass to ensure it's worthy of being the last adventure of one James M. Ward. I'll come back to that in just a minute. So whenever it was supposed to ship, January, March, July, whenever it was, we are now in February of 2025, and it seems that backers are starting to get upset about it.
Yeah.
I went and looked. There was if you search for this on Google, you'll find an Amazon page, which when you click it goes to the little puppy that says "I'm lost" because there's nothing there. And apparently, the social media pages for Stephen Deinhardt have sort of switched to something completely different. I don't even know. I don't know. There's a lot of political stuff up there instead.
So I went to the Giant Lands Facebook page,
Okay,
and was looking at their posts or his posts or whatever. And these are the last two. There's one post on his page after the two I'm showing on the screen.
and the dates on these. You want to give the dates?
Yeah, and I'll give the dates, but I just wanted to mention before I read these. These are the last two posts on that page. Other than there's one more that was like a month ago, and that had nothing to do with gaming. It had to do with some kind of donation thing, it's some park thing or whatever. So this was the first one is July 11th, 2024. The Broken Road is almost here, and he's got like fancy little icons, and it says the last Gonzo adventure module by one James M. Ward, father of sci-fi RPG, and the first official Giant Lands 1E supplement. Anyway, so he goes on to talk more crap about it.
Yeah.
And then there's another one in August 31st, 2024. Here are pages from the two books, right? So there was two pages being shown, developing at Wonderfilled. But that's it. That's the last time on Giant Land's page, their official Facebook page, that they talk about this product. And that was in August of last year.
Yeah. So I'm not sure he's quite ready to be in the Ken Whitman of Hall of Fame yet for unfulfilled things, because this was not actually a Kickstarter. This was just a web page that put up and said, send me some money and maybe I'll send you something in the future. So,
right.
I mean, buyer beware. If you send money to a company that you've never heard of for a product that they don't know when they're going to be ready with, and it's not even a Kickstarter, what do you think is going to happen to your money?
Right.
But
did Giant Lands ever come out?
Yes.
Oh, so Giant Lands did come out.
Yes, so it did come out. It was a whole thing where lots of huge promises. It's going to change gaming. It's going to be the next big thing. We've heard that story before.
Sure.
I would refer people to Tenkar's Tavern if you want to see what the game actually turned out like. They were not too impressed over there. I'll tell you that.
I was going to say, my guess would be it's probably nothing really new.
It did say that you could wear a mask at the table, like you could make I don't know, some sort of spiritual warrior mask that I honestly I just don't, I wasn't even interested enough to follow it off. It seems silly. There's a lot of things I could say about this, but I won't.
The only thing I can say that I've noticed with the products is they do seem, this is the only positive thing I can say. They do seem to get a lot of good artwork. Like I do see what's decent.
No, it's terrible artwork. That's actually the thing that kind of bothered me the most, is that he actually went and paid Larry Elmore for some artwork and then took that artwork, in some cases took it and just stretched it and moved it to the wrong aspect ratio, so it all looked goofy and wasn't fitting right. And in other cases, he took black and white artwork that Larry Elmore had done, and then he colored it himself. And made it.
I'm just talking. Well, I didn't really dig into it. I was just talking about the images I did see seemed to look decent.
Yeah, they're bad. I mean, just because I think if I didn't know that somehow Larry Elmore had been involved, I would have thought, well, they're fine. But realizing what he did was he took Elmore's stuff and altered it, which you just don't do. You don't do that.
I gotta wonder how his model works. Like, how does he make enough money to pay like Elmore to do a piece?
I will not speculate because I don't want to. I don't want to.
No, I'm just saying. I know.
But
I'm not saying that we should. I'm just saying that I just, like, I mean, for being a new, that's it. That's the only two products he has.
Yeah.
Well, the one product. He only has one product. Giant Lands.
Well, I mean, people can pay for things, if you buy a piece of artwork instead of buying a fancier car, maybe. I don't know.
Sure. Okay. That's fair.
I really don't know. I'd be speculating, but it sounds like the point is a little bit moot because apparently this just hasn't delivered. Doesn't mean it never will. But if you see that page, I wouldn't necessarily expect to get anything if you send $50 to a random account.
Right.
But again, maybe it'll happen someday. But yeah, it is a shame that Jim Ward is getting his name attached to something that he doesn't have the ability, now that he's passed, he doesn't have the ability to say anything about. So it's a shame.
Right.
Yeah. But hey, on a positive note, no, I don't have anything. I really don't.
On the upside,
no, I don't know. Hey, I'll tell you some upside. TotalCon is coming up in just like a week and a half. There's some upside. Yeah. We are going to be at TotalCon. There will be a Solarian room, as there always is. We're looking forward to all the stuff we're doing there. You want to tell about a couple of things that are going on?
Oh my God, yeah. All right, so we have our own room, and we're going to have a bunch of games in there, run by hand-picked game masters. And let's see, there's going to be a bunch of top secret stuff. So Scott Congable always comes, and he's going to be bringing his A game as he always does. He's got a bunch of top secret games he's going to run. Jason's going to run a couple. I'm going to run one. I think there was another person that I was a little surprised. I think maybe was it David I don't know. Benavides is in the room. I think he might be running a top secret game too. I can't remember. But not only that, I'm going to be running more blood. I even printed out a whole 3D printed out and painted a whole new terrain, which everybody's going to get to see, which is really awesome. There's going to be
yep, it's David. He says it's him.
Yep, there's going to be some Tis But a Scratch. There's going to be,
which is the trivia game. That's a Tis But a Scratch is a dungeon crawling trivia game, so you can come down and play with everybody.
Yeah, and you really are. It really is an RPG. You really are doing battle. You're just, instead of rolling dice, you're answering trivia questions to defeat monsters. You do roll dice for damage and stuff, but that's cool.
Yeah. Well,
and then, so there's that. It's going to be a bunch of games. Mary's going to be running some 5e games. I know Witchlight this year, though. I don't think we're going to be doing anything with that this year, but we'll definitely return to that next year.
We will have also, Scott Congable has been putting out adventures of his own, mission modules of his own for Top Secret.
Yeah.
So we will be printing up some of those and bringing them with us for anybody who wants to buy those. Mm-hmm. And he'll be there to sign them, which will be cool.
Yeah. And we have a special event that we're doing.
Yeah.
On Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to be live streaming the Golden Fez Awards. Yes, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be really cool. We're going to have it set up so that we usually have like an industry party every year. We're going to have it at the industry party, but we're going to kind of turn it around so it faces outside to where everybody else is, and it's going to be basically both folks can watch it. And again, like I said, we're going to live stream it. We'll probably live stream it right to this channel. So yeah, where you're watching now is where you'll see
technology work. We will definitely do that. So that'll be the James Carpio Memorial Golden Fez Awards. And there were something like over 40 entries. Yes. And there are 6 or 7 categories that we'll be announcing winners in. So getting the nice brass plaques made up and all that cool stuff. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work. Oh my God, it's been a lot of work.
Yes, it has. Turns out judging that many games requires a lot of reading.
Yeah.
But it'll be great. So can't wait for people to come down and see that, and cannot wait to get up to Total Con and see everybody there. It's our favorite. So please come see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. And then of course, come by, say hi if you're there. Come by and say hi to us, hang out, whatever.
Yeah.
We see us around, stop us, talk to us. We're good,
Yep. Right on.
Yeah, that's it. It's gonna be badass.
Yeah, that's that's what we got for this week.
Yeah. So everybody have a good rest of the week. And I hope if you're a Super Bowler person, your team won. And if they didn't, well,
shut up.
All right, everybody. Talk to you later.